In part one of this short series, we looked at the festival of Samhain, when the ancient Celtic people celebrated the end of the year on October 31st with bonfires and feasting. But there was more to the festival than transitioning through the change of seasons. Samhain was a dangerous time. Like its successor Hallowe'en, it was a period in which the conventional boundaries of space and time were temporarily suspended, and where the spirits of the other world mingled freely with the living. Sacred throughout the Irish countryside are mounds called She. In reality, these are burial mounds, but according to Celtic folklore, they were the gateways to the domain of the Two-Hut Day, the spirit folk of the gods. On certain occasions during the year, especially the eve of the Feast of Samhain on November 1, spirits from the other world were free to leave their She to roam the countryside, sometimes with dire consequences for mortals in their path. These infamous spirits dwelt in grassy mounds, which were the entrances to underground palaces full of treasure, where was always music and dancing. These treasure houses were open only on November Eve, when the throngs of spirits, fairies, and goblins trooped out for revels about the country. The Druids were associated with Samhain. Their mediatory powers were required to control the supernatural energy flowing from the open otherworld. But the creatures and spirits of the dead could not always be contained. The sight of the apparitions on Halloween is believed to be fatal to the beholder. One night my lady's soul walked along the wall like a cat. Long Tom Bowman beheld her, and that day week fell he into the well and was drowned. They also stole babies, leaving in their place changelings, goblins who were old in wickedness while still in the cradle, possessing superhuman cunning and skill in music. Brides too were stolen, and it was dangerous to go near dead bodies on November Eve. There were other hauntings as well. One version of the jack-o'-lantern story comes from Ireland. A stingy man named Jack was, for his inhospitality, barred from all hope of heaven, and because of practical jokes on the devil, was locked out of hell. After Jack died, the devil sent Jack off into the night with only a burning coal of hellfire to light his way. Jack put the coal into a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth with it ever since. Until Judgment Day, he is condemned to walk the earth with only this lantern to light his way. At last came the morning sunrise, and the gates closed between the lands of the living and the dead. The year was over, and the sun's life of a year was done. The Celts thought that at this time the sun fell victim for 6 months to the powers of winter darkness. The new fire which had burned all night was given next morning, New Year's Day, by the priests to the people to light their hearths, where all fires had been extinguished. The blessed fire was thought to protect the year through the home it warmed. These ceremonies were repeated every year for many centuries. But for the ancient Britons, forces from mainland Europe would change their culture forever, first from the invading Roman Empire. The great power which the Druids exercised over their people interfered with the Roman rule of Britain. Augustus forbade Romans to be initiated, Tiberius banned the priestly clan and their adherents from Gaul, and Claudius utterly stamped out the belief there. In AD 58, Emperor Nero launched and won a campaign against the Druids in Britannia. During the next 3 centuries, the cult was stifled to death, and the Christian religion substituted. It was believed that at Christ's advent, the pagan gods either died or were banished. It was a long, hard effort to make men see that their gods had all the time been wrong, and harder still to root out the age-long growth of rite and symbol. The fires belonging to these times were retained, their old significance forgotten or reconsecrated. Meanwhile, the Teutonic May Eve assemblage of witches brought its hags and their attendant beasts to help celebrate the night of October 31st. In time, the autumn festival of the Druids became the Vigil of All Hallows or All Saints' Day, in memory of all the Christian saints, since there were too many for each to have a special day on the church calendar. In the 9th century, the day was changed from May to November, so that the crowds that had thronged to Rome for the services might be fed from the harvest bounty. In the 10th century, St. Odilo, Bishop of Cluny, instituted a day of prayer and special masses for the souls of the dead. This day became All Souls and was set for November 2nd. It is very appropriate that the Celtic festival when the spirits of the dead and the supernatural powers held a carnival of triumph over the God of Light should be followed by All Saints and All Souls Days. The church holy days were celebrated by bonfires and later candles to light souls through purgatory to paradise, as they had lighted the sun to his death on Samhain. After many years, the Christian and pagan holidays diverged, and now the old Celtic holiday lives on in today's Halloween celebrations. The USA even added its own modern-day Druids, the Ghostbusters, to keep the spirits in check. Let's hope they succeed. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel for new videos every week or two, and see the description below for a list of books and online resources featured in this video.